Ladies and gentlemen, I am Yusril. It is the 3rd of November, and welcome once again to the Tribble Timewarp. The latest patch happily activated the Drazana console and brought it up to date. So it's Shinies time, boys and girls. We can finally play with some of the more advanced gear. We'll start with the Dyson space sets, I think, since we're happily in orbit. Orbit? Flight? Who cares? So, first up we have the main set. This is the shield array, deflector, engines, and one of two cores. You'll notice that the set is a 5-piece, obviously that includes both cores. The Romulans had to be different and exchange all that dangerous mucking about with antimatter for the relative safety of having a black hole at the heart of your ship and occasional crew members turning into penguins. Ford, stop it. Right, so let's get this equipped. So, stick in the core for starters. That gets you 5 engine power. Bear in mind that that is an efficiency bonus, so the higher you run your engines, the less you'll get. In fact, if we swing this right the way up, let's see what happens. Yep, you can see it's gone to 0 at 100, and if we bring it right the way down to 17, come on, there we go. You can just see it ticking up, so it looks like we're capping at 6, give or take. Also looks as though it's working off the base power rather than anything else. Either way, even at 15 power, that is still contributing up to a total of 64, which isn't too shabby at all. Paradoxically, the Dyson engines are combat engines, which means that they are efficient at low power levels. We'll plug those in. Don't think... yes, that has changed the glow. Actually, we have this kind of yellow finish to it now. It's not unattractive, I suppose, but we'll see what we get elsewhere. Effect of those, 2.5 to shield engine and auxiliary, 19.8 speed, plus 0.3 flight turn rate. Movement, which... it has been noted at speed. Well, I'm getting 14.7 base. Where did I put the old Borg engines? No maneuverability burst there. Let's just plug these straight back in. 14.8. Did I miss something? Plus 9.9 flight turn rate. And switch. $14.7. Interesting. I would have thought that would have given a significant bonus to turn rate. Either that isn't working or I am missing something very, very obvious here. Let's see. Info. Boost turn rate and full impulse speed. Ha 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 ha. Apparently not. Right, let's go with the next bit. The deflectors, 8.8 sensors, emitters, structural integrity, graviton generators. Indeed. Basically, this is, ironically enough, it's very much a control and tanking deflector. So again, we'll plug it up, see if it gives us anything. Ooh, look, another of the mesh effects. That looks oddly similar to the Tholian effect. Oddly similar. That wave pattern it was producing is slightly different. We'll see if it comes up again while we're... there we go. Yeah, I don't think that's the Tholian pattern. It's not too shabby. Nice way of making it show. And last but not least, we have the regenerative shield array. This is very much par for the Borg version. Let's take a look. That's Mark 11. It's actually lower in capacity than the Borg Mark 11. Oh, wow. However, it does have a very nice effect that the first time every 2 minutes that a shield facing goes down, it will immediately regenerate a good chunk of your shields. On the downside, it only happens every 2 minutes, and a significantly heavy alpha strike could cause you some problems with this set. On the plus side, no, regeneration is lower as well. What the blazes is going on here? I suppose they must be reckoning that the broad spectrum damage reduction is worth the trade-off, but we shall see. I'm losing some shield hardening as well because of the loss of shield power. Of course, this is a fully spec'd up cruiser. Well, not fully spec'd, but shields are still fairly tough. Even passive, I've got 91 shield power. So let's plug it in, see what it does, and... Let's close this down and get a better look. Well, I can't say I'm a fan of the yellow warp nacelles, but the hull texture isn't too bad. Dorsal plate on the engineering hull's a little busy, but par for the course. Not too bad, I suppose. Okay, so that's a quick look at that. Incidentally, what kind of shield facing have I got here? Atmospheric training 3, shield hit points, defense, defense, defense. That's the shuttle, not the starship. 7,500 all facings. Well, I suppose we could amp it a bit higher. I mean, we've got a field generator in place. If we take that off, 6,006, so that's a couple of hits worth of difference. That's a little on the weak side. A solid Alpha Strike will punch straight through that in short order. Yes, thank you, Admiral. Go away. Right, the other half of the space set. Oh yes, of course, the bonuses. I probably shouldn't ignore those. Info, what do we have? So, shielded critical systems, resistance to any kind of knock effect, also resistance to shield and energy drain. Handy, given that the Voth are quite fond of power drains. Proton barrage, we have that automatically at 0.4, so we'll hopefully get a chance to try that. Decent whack to the hull, 3,500. Interestingly, that ignores shields completely. Of more interest is the fact that it's basically a pocket subnucleonic beam. Not quite as potent, but 100% chance to strip a buff, 50% chance to strip a second, 25% chance to strip a third. And reactive shielding, again, once you take a significant hit, that will kick in and toughen up your shields. So partially offsetting. Now the question is that active or passive? Let's bring up the power menu. Can we see it in the actives? Reroute, ramming. Nope, that looks like it is a passive once every 60 seconds for 15 seconds. Good. There are so many active abilities flying around these days that a lot of things have to be set passive or you just run out of space on the tray. Okay, the weapons options. The experimental proton weapon is an interesting piece of kit. It hybridizes cannons and beam arrays, so it kind of uses a special attacks of both. By default, you have beam overload and cannon scatter volley. Adding your second set to the arsenal gives you extra photon damage, so the gravimetric photon launcher, we'll come to that in a second. And it also enables fire at will, so if you're running a cruiser set, this isn't too shabby at all. And finally, of course, if you're running the third option, plus 10% critical chance, 10% severity, and, well, you get rapid fire as well. So this is actually quite a nice little set. The cannon itself does proton damage. Now, this is one of those things whereby, yes, there is no mitigation console at the moment except for the resist all options. On the other hand, there's also no weapon boosting console, so it's very much a swings and roundabouts effect. We also have the gravimetric torpedo launcher. Now, DPS, as you can see, is roughly on a par with the wide-angle torpedo launcher, so good but not great. However, it automatically destroys Voth Aceton drones, which is quite handy because those guys are a serious nuisance. Bear in mind that you need to use significant wallops of kinetic damage to get rid of them. 586 DPS compared to what were we getting from the Romulan option? I think it was about the same, actually. No, it was the wide arc torpedo I was comparing. 3 torpedoes. Well, we shall see. We'll have to give it a chance. Beyond that, it has a small gravimetric effect as well. That's basically a little bit of kinetic damage. It's basically a lingering blast zone, which is a little bit odd. Hopefully any torpedo in a spread or high yield will be able to trigger that. Finally, we have the proton particle stabilizer. 3 weapon power, 3 engine power, a quick little boost to EPS, and the only thing I'm aware of that actually boosts proton damage offhand. So needless to say, the whole thing synergizes very nicely. However, it is a tactical console, so I'm going to have to trade a weapon relay for it. This had better be worth it. Probably will be in this case compared to well, maybe. We shall see. Finally, we had a few other miscellaneous shinies. Signature dampeners. These are defense consoles with a side order of resistance. So in this case, resist all gives you all energy and all kinetic damage. You get the anti-proton and proton resistance as standard. There's also one that adds plus. So these are the only 2 on the Drozana station. I suspect there are others available through the Reputation store and through lockbox drops, but we shall see. We also have the auto-targeting module. Again, these are the only 2 available, phaser and disruptive damage. I sincerely hope there are going to be options for other weapon types, or, well, I can imagine the screaming. Again, you have basic plus proton damage and plus weapon type damage. Right, that is clearly the end of that mini event that was going on. Finally, on the space front, we have got an interesting little change. You'll recall that originally the crit chance and crit severity consoles were per weapon type and not damage type. Well, Cryptic have heard the pleas, they have heard the prayers, and to be frank, they have heard the moaning as well. So, they have changed this somewhat. There are now some specific types, and when this loading screen finishes, we'll go and have a look, because they weren't in the regular Drozana store. So here we are, welcome back to the Cryptic Tribbles Reborn Fleet Spire. Home away from home. Quite a long way away from home, in fact. Although, I'm not sure what's going on with these textures here. I'm not sure if this is just a Z buffer thing, or if it's genuinely meant to be a... Well, I still have no idea what's going on there. Is that meant to be an attempt at a rotation effect? Because at the moment it just looks like someone has some weird problems with their Z buffering. I'm not sure whether it was meant to look like the whole thing's rotating or not, but it definitely isn't having the intended effect at present. It just looks oddball. Anyhow, let's dock up quickly. Go have a look at these new consoles. Also, does anyone know where I can lay my hands on 10 million gallons of white paint? Actually, that would be a good optional dilithium extra for the Spire holding, wouldn't it? 10 million gallons of white paint just to get the place looking a little less like it's been abandoned since the Iconians toddled off, which it probably has been, but that's not the point. Unfortunately, this does mean another loading screen. Doobie-doobie-doo, doobie-doobie-doo. On the bright side, it's not often I get to see a 1020 frame per second rate logged on DxTory. Come on. Come on. Come on. There we go. Right, let's go find these consoles. Doop, 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 doop. Doop, 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 doop. No, that's the ground option. Where's my space option? Is that my space option? No. Here we are, space equipment. Here we are, store. So we have some new consoles. So we still have the beam cannon, mine and torpedo options. You'll notice in addition that they have been nerfed slightly. They're down to 22.3% damage. We also have anti-proton damage, chronoton projectiles, disruptors, photon projectiles, phasers, plasma projectiles, don't get those two mixed up, polarons, quantum projectiles, tetrions, transphasic projectiles, tricobalt projectiles. These are slightly more effective, 25.5%, so what we had before with the old options, and they are per weapon type. So rainbow boats, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to break it to you, you are not only going to be mocked for a suboptimal build, you are going to be mocked for wasting quite a lot of, well, to be perfectly frank, quite a lot of cash on subpar consoles. Interestingly, of course, is that this raises a question about the experimental proton weapon. Since it's both a beam and a cannon, is it going to benefit from beam and cannon consoles, or just sit there quietly playing Billy No Mates? Let's find out, actually. I'll need to acquire some beam and cannon consoles at some point somehow. All of this is, of course, completely irrelevant, so without at least blowing up some Voth and giving it a test. So let's go find some Voth to kill. Right, what do we have? Sub-Commander Kale, not now. Incidentally, that is a quick shortcut to the fleet spire at the top of Allied space, so you don't have to burn your transwarp to get there. Now then, I need some Voth to explode while we're here. We also have a duty officer assignment. You'll remember I started this off in an older transwarp. Assist with deactivation and disassembly of relics. Happily, they got it completely right. So, what do we have? 1,000 energy creds, 5 marks, bit of dilithium, and a decent wodge of skill points, XP, and expertise. All very, very handy. Right. None of which, however, gets us any closer to detonating Voth. So, Tribble population is its usual near extinct self. Well, let's load up the breach and storming the spire while we're here. We have things to kill. We have things to kill. And more to the point, we have a Bastion cruiser, and that is the wonderful, wonderful bunch that happened to drop aceton drones left, right, and centre. So, there we have the gravimetric torpedo out, and looks like the experimental proton weapon is using the anti-proton beam effect. Bit of a paradox. Right. An aceton drone. Goodbye. There we are. Instant detonation. Although, to be frank, I think the torpedo may have had something to do with that. Now, let's try this. Proton barrage. Aye, oh. Nuts. Okay, well, let's try this anyway. Whoop. That was the Jem'Hadar graphic effect. I don't know if that's going to get a different option, but it looks like we're going to go explode some Voth. And that was a gravitic rift. Handy! Right, let's try something a little more significant by way of a test. Welcome back to the breach, boys and girls. Let's see if I can manage not to explode this time. Off we go. Or rather, off we go once the briefing wears out. I don't think there have been any major changes to this, so I may simply skip straight to the end. Also, we have the icon for the experimental proton weapon, worth noting, and also worth getting rid of. Something I'd really like Cryptic to fix is that weapon icons tend to auto-appear. Really, if there's a priority list for the way in which they auto-populate the various options on this hotbar tray, weapons should really be right at the back of it. However, that's a personal moan from the number of times I've had to completely reconfigure that tray for my bridge officers and special abilities. Anyhow, begin the trench run, and also sacrifice the NPCs again. So we know how this works. I am actually going to take the second line and just get going. And knock out of the slipstream just for a moment. Right, come on into the slipstream. We need the speed. Off we go, off we go, off we go. Thank you. Detonate everything as we go. Avoid the plasma. Keep moving. Oh. Hi guys. Nice to see someone made it. I was expecting to see NPC assistance down here. Boom. Quite a lot of NPC assistance, in fact. Boom. Boom? There we go. Needed the boom. Right. Turret calling assistance. Oh wow, that is burning straight through my shields without even trying. Okay, emergency power to all. Sweep it again. All in the fleet. Start cycling engineering teams. Pass emitters, beam it, just like so. And there we go. It appears that for all my complaints about the shield strength on this new set, that was the least of my worries. Pop engineering team again. And back to the high-speed run. Whoop, dodge the Bernie. Through the place at speed. What's everyone else doing, I wonder? We're coming out the back. Still blitzing past spontaneously generated NPCs. I'm not doing very much, that's to be said. There we go. And out the back. Again, we've got a problem with hardpoints not quite being targetable. Loop over. Strafing run. No damage there despite a weapon graphic. Oh, right, that was just a server messing up. Okay. 91%. So that's very definitely a quick way to save some time by splitting the party right at the start. Yes, I know it's a bad policy in RPGs to split the party, but when your ships are hard enough to look after themselves, it's a reasonable one. Okay. Move back. And do we have anything else to kill? One hard point there, I think. And if the rest of the guys can clean out the primary trench, we should be good. Boom. And boom. Come on. 2 or 3 more to go. Shouldn't be that hard. Standard attack mode. Alright, the Eagle's engaged down there. Better help him get in before he gets completely murdered. There we go. Right, so rally at the breach site. Also patch up the escorts. Very satisfying explosion, that. Okay, and we're heading into phase 2. Right, more Voth to explode. Let's see what we can do. I'll take a hard right here, try not to hit anything. Miss my turn, and close that hangar door. And also scrape the paint somewhat. Right, multiple waves, but nope, they've gone aggressive anyway. Oh well. So, torpedoes out. Intercepts a repair ship. Just runs through the Tempest while it closes the door. There we go. And plough into the walls again. Come on, round we go, round we go. Let's close that other hangar door while we're here. There we go, and ambush these guys. Oh, bad timing, bad timing. Oh, nice shiny new effect on the decoys. Now, that's an interesting addition. Right. So we're left looping on. Let's see if they've tightened up the navigation here. That's the other point that I wasn't too happy with the last incarnation of this mission. And no, it's not because I was sore about being exploded. Oh, new gravimetric rift. Don't think it affects me, but I'm going to avoid it anyway. Boom. Okay, have we cleared the hangar? Not quite. Have we cleared the force hangar? Lower hangar force field. Right, okay, so it tells you about the closed door there. That's a nice addition. So we now lower the hangar force field. And also loot the batteries dry. Onwards! Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo. Right, tractor repulsor turrets are a new addition, or rather, they're an addition that is now working properly, which is much the same thing. And of course, we also have to clear out the allies and save them. Alright, so we have another Bastion cruiser. Let's just take its shiny abilities away. Yep, subnucleonic does work for that. Okay, so one quick gravimetric splash, and that's crippled it. In comes the repair ship. No, you don't. And that's cleared that. Evasive maneuvers again before the repair ship gets that cruiser back online. Whoops! A daisy. At least it didn't quite come back at full strength, though. You die. You... Oh, wait, you are at full strength now. Oh, dear. Okay, that's still intact. And the captive vessels are now fighting back. That is also handy. Any extra guns help. There we go. Pop and... pop. Movement behind. It's attempting to pop its phase cloak. That is not going to fool me. Ha 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 ha. Voth frigate still very obviously the decoy vessel. And there we go. Right. The Dreadnought. Not a lot to add about these guys. They're a little more prone to using their depth charges, whatever those are. I'm getting that bad if you're cloaked. But since this is an Excelsior, it does not need to hide from its enemies. It could also do with popping its threat generation. It does not really matter. Oh wait, was that a gravity well it just exploded in? I rather think it was. Okay, let's quickly patch you in. And loop back hard. Okay, rapid shield regen. And put the pain back on. Hit it with the proton sweep again, and boom! Right, Voth goes boom, brace for impact. Still think the animation for those guys needs to be tightened up a bit, and where are all those torpedoes going? They're not going to get through in a month of Sundays. Right, Apocryphal Doctrine, 100 Voth ships dead. There we go, new accolade. Right, to the next phase. Indeed we are, but first we are going to save our allies by killing the Orchard. Let's see how many launches we get on this. Torpedo stroke works as planned. Did we get rifts? No, we didn't. That's a bit unfortunate. Sends the rescue teams. Oh, right, so it goes active the moment you send the rescue teams. That is definitely handy to know. Fall over last few. Right, sub-power core is moving away. Now we had center to start with. Let's see what we get. Open the box. Do we have center again? No, we don't. Right. Someone was saying in the last look at this that they always had center, right, left, I think it was. Well, let's pop the left again, see if that's going to happen. Right, so we've had center and then left. Let's pour on the damage for a bit. Interesting there that I got a torpedo launch. I didn't think I'd hit forward 90 degrees by a long shot. However, that could just be a rather large hitbox despite the animations. Let's loop back, get the arc of the torpedo launcher onto display and see what happens. So, coming around forward 180. Again, there we go. Yeah, that was an out-of-arc launch without a doubt. So there's something going on with the hitbox on that option. Meanwhile, let's get going again now. We've had center, we've had left. Are we going to have right this time? Pop the box. Pop the box again. Open power relays. And we have... what do you know? The sub-power core. Right, so center, left, right. I wonder if that's a recurring pattern. If that's the magic thing you have to remember. If so, I'll be a little disappointed, to be honest. because what looked like it was going to be random in fact wasn't. Whether that's deliberate or not. Yeah, definitely out of arc launchers on the hitbox for this thing. So, dual beambank escorts might be a good option here. There we go, and boom. Right. To the final battle. Also, which way do you need to go? Oh yeah, this way. Core conditions are now considered highly dangerous. Now this thing has a new ability. It has a point-blank AoE. The first hit will basically strip your shields. The second hit will clobber you something fierce. I have no intention of... Oh, crap. Also, it appears to have a teleport effect. Oh, you little... Out of the way. Like I said, first hit clobbers your shields. Second hit does horrible things to your hull. Okay, so we'll hit shield hardening on the cruiser commands just for safety's sake. And then we shall bring the pain. I wonder if they fix the targeting problems. No, I'm getting the distinct impression that they have. Right, let's find the sweet spot. Ouch! Rotate hard. Of course, you can't stay in that sweet spot for very long because it will start knocking your shield. Something awful, like so. Ratio polarity. Get a rapid recharge on that, or this is going to hurt. Give me shields. Ouch! Well, that wasn't quite massive hull damage, but I am in a cruiser. But you'll notice that it's a much, much faster option now that the firing mechanism has been fixed. We can target this properly. We're no longer having to navigate a very narrow sweet spot on the engineering and arc side. Right, engineering teams again. Shooting this to maximum. That's the hyper regeneration kicking in. Keep the broadsides coming. Are we getting out of arc launches for the torpedo? I don't think... maybe. Maybe not. There we go. Starboard shields are shot. Keep the damage coming. Boom. Right. Redirecting the ambient pathways. Now there is supposed to be another exit here. That's the door we came in by. There we go. They really do need to add a highlight for this. Go, 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 go. And we get the speed boost on the way out. Ah, right, I see. We're heading back through the hangar bay. At some speed it must be added. There's a left turn here, and there's the exit. Out with 10 seconds to spare. There we go. Oof. Okay, so that's the not quite hidden exit, but you get the idea. Looks like one person didn't quite make it. Alright, so it's all completed for 20 marks. Power core gone for 20 marks. 8 ships saved and 4 players escaped. What did we get? 60 marks. Not a bad haul considering that's a non-elite mission. More to the point, how long did it take us? Well, I'll find that out later when I review the footage. So, the Voth space set, ladies and gentlemen. Not a bad piece of kit at all. I'm still a little unconvinced about that shield strength, but the extra regeneration, and particularly the emergency regeneration, looks like it might make up for it. Looks are, as always, a matter of choice, but you do always have the option of turning them off if you don't approve. So, in fact, you know what? I think we will just do that now. Disable, disable, and disable. Ooh. So, standard Excelsior hull once again, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I shall bid you farewell. Until next time, at least. See you around.